Some new details tonight, a day after crews pulled a body out of the Mississippi River near Schwiebert Park in Rock Island. The victim's been identified as 37-year-old Samuel Davis from Moline. Preliminary autopsy results show Davis drowned. The Rock Island Police Department continues the investigation.
It's said a picture's worth 1,000 words.
That's him in the little red hat.
For Donna Evans.
I don't remember why we posed him that way in that picture, do you?
These pictures write the contents of her son's life.
Most folks say, once they met him, they were his friend.
A friend whose life ended after 37 years.
Well, the way I found out was a way that's going to stick in my memory forever. The doorbell rang, and I went to the door, and there was a shirt that said coroner's office on the label on the corner of the shirt, and I thought, it can't be good.
Police say they pulled Sam Davis' body from the Mississippi River back on April 29th. The Rock Island County coroner says he drowned, and police are investigating what happened.
It looks like it could have possibly been just simply a tumble on the rocks. But that's not a conclusive finding. There you go, Sam from the beginning.
Chapters of Sam's life are scattered across his mom's living room, maybe none more telling than the quote he posted on Facebook.
On such a beautiful day, I can't help but feel blessed with the wonderful friends and family I have been provided with. Hope all of your troubles blow away on the breeze and the sun melts your future problems before they happen. Smiley face.
That was Sam.
There's Sam as a policeman.
A picture may be worth 1,000 words, but for this mom,
Yep.
no amount of words could ever describe her son.
That's how he lived his life,
Shane Simmons, WQAD, News 8.
Now, Donna says it's possible her son died after simply tumbling off the bike path, but police say they're not ruling out foul play yet.
In April of 2015, the Quad Cities community was shaken by the tragic death of Sam Davis. The 37-year-old was found along the rocky banks of the Mississippi River with his bike submerged in the water near him. His passing was quickly deemed an accidental drowning, but for those who knew him, questions lingered. This is the story of Sam Davis, his life, and his mysterious, unsolved death that still haunts his family.
Sam Davis was born on June 13, 1977 in Moline, Illinois, to Richard H.W. Davis and Donna Jeske Davis. From an early age, Sam stood out for his talent, his warmth, and his spirit. He was a member of the Moline Boys Choir and would go on to become the lead singer in two bands, Dirge and Stonefish, both rooted in the vibrant local music scene in Rock Island. He was also a passionate performer who loved acting and music. His presence was magnetic. Sam was a vocal proponent of the gay pride movement and openly embraced his identity during a time when it wasn't always easy or accepted. He cared deeply for his community, for his city, and most of all, for his family and friends. He worked as a waiter at the Blue Cat Brew Pub, where he was known for his kindness, his energy, and his love for conversation. Sam had a gift for making people feel seen and heard. He lived a life defined by love, laughter, and a touch of eccentric charm.
At around 4 p.m., Sam arrived at the Blue Cat Brew Pub to pick up his bike. It was a familiar ritual. The brew pub had become both a workplace and a home base. He told friends that he had met someone new, a man described as cute, recently released from prison, straight, and known to fish on the rocks by the river. At 8 p.m., Sam was seen by a neighborhood acquaintance on a city bus. The friend noted that Sam seemed upbeat and mentioned plans to meet this new person. Surveillance footage confirms Sam exiting the bus at 20th Street in Rock Island, retrieving his bike from the front rack and walking west on River Drive. Then, the cameras lose track of him. The next day, Wednesday, April 29th, another warm, sunny day in Rock Island. Sam never came home. His body was found just before noon, partially submerged in the Mississippi River. His bike was found in the water beside him. Later that evening, Sam's mother, Donna Evans, sat down to watch the news when a knock came at the door. Two men stood outside. One of the men was Detective Metzger of the Rock Island Police Department. He was accompanied by the Rock Island County Coroner. Donna remembers wanting to shut the door, to reject the very reality they brought. Donna said, "They started talking about a body and steps they'd taken to identify it. I just wanted to know which of my 4 sons had died." Eventually, they named Sam Davis. Donna went to get her husband, Dave, and together they began making the first painful phone calls to their family. Donna's other son, Ben, was on a plane out of Spokane the next morning. Sam was discovered near the shoreline of the Mississippi River, face down in the water. An autopsy report showed that Sam had 16 to 19 ounces of water in his lungs. Also on Sam's body were multiple contusions, ranging from a large gash on the upper part of his nose, between his eyes, which swelled his nose. Sam also had injuries above his ear, an injury to his rib cage area, knuckles, and most concerning, an injury to the top of his head, which was not listed in the autopsy report. What followed after Sam's body was recovered on April 29, 2015, was supposed to be a thorough investigation. Instead, it became a source of pain and frustration for his family. A stark reminder of how cases can sometimes be closed before the questions are even asked. From the very beginning, there were glaring gaps in procedure. Sam's bicycle, pulled from the river near where he was found, was placed into evidence. But no fingerprints were ever taken. When asked about this, investigators told the family that water would have likely erased any prints. While it's true that water can reduce the likelihood of retrieving usable evidence, experts note that it does not make it impossible. Even more troubling, no fingernail scrapings were taken, a basic step in cases where foul play is even remotely suspected. To Sam's mother, Donna, this was inexcusable. She remembers asking the detectives directly about these oversights. The answer was always the same. The river had washed away any chance at evidence. But to the family, it felt more like an excuse than an explanation. At one point, Donna was told by a detective that she could request Sam's belongings back whenever she wanted. To this day, some items remain in police custody, though it's unclear if they were ever properly examined in the first place. The compassion one might expect from investigators was also missing. Donna has described the interactions as cold, rushed, and dismissive. Instead of offering support, she recalls detectives speaking as though Sam's case was already closed. It was as if his death had been categorized as an accident before anyone bothered to listen to the details, before the family even had a chance to share what they knew about Sam, his life, and his final hours. The most haunting part of it all is the timeline. Sam was last seen walking through downtown Rock Island. He had been talking earlier that evening about meeting someone who had just been released from prison. Hours later, he was found dead in the Mississippi River. These are circumstances that, under most conditions, would demand a deeper inquiry. Who was the man he met? Did anyone see them together? Were there security cameras nearby? To this day, those questions remain unanswered. The absence of a real investigation left the family to do their own digging, piecing together Sam's final movements, reaching out for answers, and pushing back against a system that seemed determined to move on. For Donna and the rest of Sam's loved ones, the hardest part isn't just the loss, it's the silence. It's the sense that Sam's story, his voice, and his life didn't matter enough to warrant the basic steps of an investigation. And that truth, that absence of justice, continues to weigh on them almost a decade later. Nearly a decade has passed since Sam Davis was found in the Mississippi River. And yet, the more the family learns, the less it all makes sense. The official record tells only part of the story. A body found in the water, a bicycle pulled from the river nearby, and a death labeled as accidental. But beneath the surface, there are countless questions that remain unanswered. The first question is perhaps the most basic. How did Sam end up in the water at all? Sam was not a stranger to downtown Rock Island. He walked that route often. He knew the streets, the riverfront, the shortcuts. Family and friends who knew him best insist that Sam would not have simply stumbled into the water. He was careful. He was aware of his surroundings. And although he was intoxicated, it is highly unlikely that he could have stumbled 40 feet on jagged rocks with his bike in hand to the water below. So if he didn't fall, was he pushed? Was he forced? Or was there someone with him who knew more than they ever admitted? That brings us to the second question. Who was the man Sam mentioned meeting shortly before his disappearance? On the evening of April 28th, Sam told someone about encountering a man who had just been released from prison. This is not a vague rumor. This was a real conversation. Yet to this day, the police have said they know who this person is, but that he will not speak to investigators. Was this man just a passing acquaintance of Sam's? Or could this man have played a role in Sam's death? Without answers, it becomes one of the most unsettling mysteries in the case. Then there are the physical details that can't be ignored. Sam's mother recalls Sam with multiple head contusions and injuries to his hands and knuckles. This raises another question. Did Sam suffer injuries before he entered the water? If so, then drowning may not have been the sole cause of death. Instead, it might have been the final stage of a violent encounter. If that's true, then calling this an accident isn't just inaccurate. It's a failure to acknowledge the evidence. Another critical question is about the investigation itself. Why were such basic forensic steps ignored? No fingerprints were taken from Sam's bike, which amazingly suffered no damage and also was retrieved with the kickstand out. No fingernail scrapings were collected. These are standard practices in suspicious death cases, and especially important when a drowning victim has possible defensive wounds. Police explained that water likely destroyed any usable prints on Sam's bike. But forensic experts know that while water makes it more difficult, it does not always erase all traces. The family has every right to wonder whether these tests were never done, because investigators had already made up their minds. And what about surveillance cameras? Downtown Rock Island in 2015 wasn't devoid of security cameras. Businesses and some traffic intersections had cameras near the riverfront. Were they ever checked? Did anyone review footage from that night to see if Sam's movements could be traced? If not, why not? If they were reviewed, what did they show? And why has that information never been shared with the family? The timeline also raises questions. Between leaving work, riding the bus, and being last seen downtown, there are hours that remain unaccounted for. Where exactly was Sam during that window of time? Who did he talk to? Did anyone notice if he was being followed? Did he stop somewhere with a friend or stranger? These gaps in the story feel like missing puzzle pieces that, if found, could change everything. Finally, there's the biggest question of all. Why has the case remained in silence? When families lose a loved one, they look to law enforcement not only for answers, but for compassion. Instead, Donna remembers investigators as distant, dismissive, and almost irritated by her questions. Rather than pursuing leads, it felt as though they were burying them. Rather than offering empathy, they seemed eager to move on. And so the burden fell on Sam's family to ask the questions that authorities would not, to chase down the details, to study the timeline, to keep his memory alive while fighting against indifference. The truth is, the questions that remain are not simply curiosities. They are questions that could change the entire understanding of what happened to Sam Davis. Was his death truly an accident, as police concluded? Or was it something more, something darker, something that was never fully investigated? Ask the questions that authorities would not. To chase down the details, to study the timeline, to keep his memory alive while fighting against indifference. The truth is, the questions that remain are not simply curiosities. They are questions that could change the entire understanding of what happened to Sam Davis. Was his death truly an accident, as police concluded? Or was it something more, something darker, something that was never fully investigated? Nearly a decade later, Sam's case has not been forgotten. For years, Donna Evans, Sam's mother, carried the weight of unanswered questions, often feeling unheard and dismissed. But today, there has been a shift. New detectives are working with Donna and her family, and they are keeping her informed on developments in the case. Unlike those first painful encounters with law enforcement, these detectives have shown a willingness to listen. They have demonstrated more compassion, and more importantly, a commitment to communication. For Donna, this has brought a measure of hope that Sam's case is still on the radar and that his story matters. While there are still no easy answers, the renewed attention means the family is not left entirely in silence. Donna now receives updates, reassurance that her son's case has not been shelved forever. It is a reminder that persistence matters, that a mother's voice can keep the search for justice alive. The fact remains, there are still gaps, still mysteries, and still an unfinished story. But today, Sam's family does not stand alone. With detectives willing to engage, to ask questions, and to keep the lines of communication open, there is finally the possibility, however small, that answers may still come. Sam Davis was a son, a brother, a friend, and a light in his community. He was an artist, a performer, and a proud advocate for equality who believed in kindness above all else. Sam's sudden death in April of 2015 left behind not only grief, but also a trail of unanswered questions. The investigation into his death was marked by missed opportunities, a lack of thoroughness, and a troubling absence of compassion. Evidence went uncollected. Leads were left unexplored, and his family was left to piece together the truth on their own. Today, nearly a decade later, what remains is both love and mystery. Love, in the way his family and friends continue to remember the warmth and passion that defined his life. And mystery, in the silence and gaps surrounding how Sam truly ended up in the Mississippi River that night. Sam's story is a reminder that every life matters, every loss deserves answers, and every family deserves the truth. Until those answers come, Sam's case remains not just a tragedy, but an unfinished story, one his loved ones will never stop fighting to complete. Sam Davis deserved better, and his memory deserves justice.
Ain't it like a river to keep flowing? Ain't it like the meek to find the strength to keep on going when it seems that justice just don't bend? Ain't it like a winding river, my old friend? Ain't it like a mountain to stand tall? Ain't it like the downtrodden to rise after they fall, when the climb up top don't seem to end? Ain't it like the highest mountain, my old friend? Ain't the roads to freedom rougher than they seem? Don't the plans of peace begin with just one dream? Ain't it like an ocean to surround? Ain't it like a sturgeon during a storm to never drown? Even if the waves just won't relent, ain't it like a mighty ocean, my old friend? Ain't it like the wind to keep on blowing? Ain't it like the voiceless to find the words to make it known? When you think the message can't transcend, ain't it like the howling wind, my old friend? Ain't it just like an ocean? Ain't it like a mountain? Ain't it like a river, my old friend?